Hi guys! Hello my grade 7 students. I am your teacher for today, Teacher Sherlyn. So let us learn about poetry. That is our topic for today. So, what is poetry? Poetry is a language of imagination, feelings, of emotional self-expression, or high art. Poems are a form of literature usually written in lines or verses that make up stanzas. What are the genres of poetry? There are three of them. First is the lyrical poetry, second is narrative poetry, third is dramatic poetry. So what is the lyrical poetry? Lyrical poetry, it expresses the author's mood, emotion, and reflection in musical language. It derives its name from the lyre and was primarily intended to be sung. Not all lyrics are singable, but they are all melodious. So there are kinds of lyrical poetry. First is the ode. It expresses enthusiasm, lofty voice of some reason or thing, deep reflection or restrained feeling. Second is the elegy, a lyric poem that can always be distinguished for its subject matter. Next is the sonnet. It always consists of 14 iambic per pentameter lines. The third one is the song, a short lyric poem which is intended to primarily to be sung. The next one is the simple. The lyric touches every mood and emotion of the human heart. So for the narrative poetry, it is a poem which tells a story. It includes the subdivision epic, a long story which tells of heroic ideals of a particular society, and ballad, which generally tell of an event or interest such as a crime. So ballads were originally intended to be sung while dancing. That's according to Has 2020. It has a full storyline which all the elements of a traditional story. And also these elements include characters, plot, conflict, resolution, setting, and action. So for the next type of poetry, the dramatic poetry. It means that any drama written in verse which is meant to be spoken, usually to tell a story or portray a situation. Other forms of dramatic poetry include, and limited to, dramatic monologues, rhyme verse, and closet drama. Important dramatic works include those by Shakespeare, Ben Jonson, and Christopher Marlowe. That's according to Has 2020 also. So this is an emotional piece of literature which includes a story which is recited or sung. So what are the literary devices used in poetry? The figures of speech, of course. So first figure of speech, that would be simile, a comparison of two things by using words like or as. For example, there is no fragile like a book. For the second figure of speech, that would be metaphor, a direct comparison of two unlike things or ideas. For example, she is a phantom of delight. Alright, so the next figure of speech is personification. It means it gives human traits or inanimate objects or ideas. For example, Con Honor's voice provoked the silent dust. So the next figure of speech, that would be synecdoche. It is using a part for the whole. For example, no busy hand provoke a tear. No roving foot shall crush thee here. Alright, so next is metonymy, using another word which is clearly identifiable or associated with the idea referred to. For example, and troubled deaf heaven with my bootless cries. Alright, so the next one is hyperbole. It simply means exaggeration. For example, I breathed a song in the air. It fell to the earth, I knew not where. For who has sight so keen and strong, that it can follow a flight of song. So for the next figure of speech, that would be apostrophe, a direct address to something inanimate or dead or absent. For example, is break, 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 on thy clothed greystones, O sea. Alright, so the next example would be oxymoron, using contradictory terms. Example, O heavyliness, serious vanity. So let's proceed to the next figure of speech, that would be litotes, giving an assertion by means of negation or understatement. For example, I never saw a moor, I never saw the sea, yet know how I hear looks and what a wave must be. So for the next figure of speech, that would be allusion, refers to any scientific, historical, mythological, literary, or biblical event or figure. For example, I am not Lazarus nor Prince Hamlet. So let us proceed to the next figure of speech, that would be paradox, a phrase or statement that on the surface seems contradictory, but makes some kind of emotional sense. For example, you have to die to live, right? That would be all for our discussion right now. Let us proceed to our activity. Our first activity is make a prediction. For the instruction of this activity, I will read aloud the title of the poem here in our virtual class, and I will send it also in our chat box. So you must write 5 sentences that you think the poem is all about, and then to whom it is addressed, what is the message or the author is trying to say, and the other things they can infer just by the title. Again, you will write 5 sentences that you think what is the poem is about, to whom it is addressed, what is the message of the author is trying to say, and other things they can infer just by the title. Okay, and after that I will select random students to share their answers. Okay, thank you very much. So for the rules for this activity is that you are only given a small amount of time to be able to predict. The allotted time is only 15 minutes, okay, until you finish making 5 sentences prediction. All right, so alright class, for our second activity, that would be Venn diagram. Okay, for the instruction of our second activity, the Venn diagram, you are to create a Venn diagram and put the similarities and differences of the genres of poetry. Okay, that would be lyrical, dramatic, and narrative. Alright, you can send it in my messenger account. Okay, I will accept your answers until 10 a.m. Okay, that would be the end of our class. So you can now leave the virtual class that we had. Okay, thank you very much class. Bye bye.